Hello, boys and girls. This is going to be a really short video just as an introduction to the Native American culture. And let's look at some of their Native American art. So I have a few questions for you. Question number one, are the Native Americans alive today? Well, if you look at the photo, these are Native American Indians who are doing, now these are Native American Indians that are alive today, and they are celebrating traditions and cultures that have been passed down from generations to generations to generations. So if you look at the people that you see in the photo, these are Native Americans. They're people just like you and me. They go to school, they go to church, they go to um, they go to movies, they play video games just like you and I do. Uh, uh, but they also have their ancestors who have lived a long time ago have passed down their culture, their art through the generations, and that's why they're doing celebrations. And so, what I'd like to do is go back into time a little bit and sort of tell you the story of how America became to be the great country it is, and start from the very beginning. So, if you see this map, we have our country, United States of America. It's in the continent of North America, so all of this area is North America. So if this is North America, this must be South America. And then over on this side, we have Europe. Europe is made up of all these little tiny countries, and we also have Russia included. We have Africa that's underneath it. And then on this side, we have Asia. So our story takes place is if the Native American Indians were the first people that lived in North America, did they always live in North America? No. The question is, or the answer is, no, they didn't always live in North America. They actually originated from this part of the world, which is Asia, around the Mongolia, southern part of Russia, and northern part of China. So, let me ask you another question. Have you seen this movie? Ice Age, is I always like to refer to this when we talk about the Native American Indians because the Ice Age movie sort of helps to tell that story of how the Native Americans uh, who originated from this area, how on earth did they get all the way over to North America? And when I do this in class, I ask the students, and a lot of times people will say, well, they came over by boat. I said, no, they didn't have boats that would sail across the ocean like that. That was the Pilgrims. That came a little bit later. Um, and so this has a very interesting story. And like I said, if you have seen the movie Ice Age, I'm hoping that we can make that connection. Now, Ice Age sort of refers back to when the whole northern part of the world is just coated in snow and ice. So I'm trying to draw a line with my mouse. Anything north of that, it was just coated in snow and ice. Now, the Ice Age movie, they don't say it in the movie, but I believe it sort of takes place in this general region of where the Native Americans originated from. So if we go back to the movie, we notice that we talk about this little boy's family. Is his little boy is his family farmers? No, no, they're not farmers because it's very difficult to grow food and crops if you're in the middle of an ice age when everything is coated in snow and ice. And so the ice age is basically where the climate uh, had just sort of got stuck in winter, and it was like that for a extremely long time. And so his family weren't farmers; they were actually hunters. And what they did was they hunted animals. The animals were their main source of supplies and resources. For me, if I need something, especially around winter, and as the temperatures get cooler, I sort of think about this. I say, you know what? I need a new pair of gloves. The pair I have a hole in it, or I need a new sock toboggan, or I need a new jacket or coat. Well, I can go to Walmart and buy those things that I need: coat, hat, gloves, boots, Pop-Tarts. I can get food, I can get toys, I can get tools. I can get almost everything I need basically at Walmart. Now, the thing of it is, the animals that they depended on, um, like Manny, well, they're all constantly looking for food as well. So if you remember the story, Sid the Sloth finds the little boy who got separated from his family and wanted to take the boy back. So he asked Manny for his help, and of course Manny said no, because Manny knew what the hunters and his family would do to him, because they would look at his family would look at Manny like I look at Walmart. I can get everything I need at Walmart. When they look at Manny, who is a big, huge, woolly mammoth, they can use the hair and the fur for clothes. They could use the skins for shelter and make teepees and other clothing. They could use the bones for tools, and of course, they use the meat to eat. And so that's why Manny really didn't want to help. Well, he did help, and the boy, they reunited the boy with his family, and the hunters were so moved by Manny helping, they sort of let him go his own way. But Manny is also looking for food, and Manny is what we call a herbivore. Herbivore is animals that just eat plants. And so if you're in the Ice Age, they're going to be constantly looking for food, and they can't just stand there and wait for it to grow. So all of the many of the animals like Manny that were in this area started moving in search for food. And if if your resources are moving away from you, well, the people sort of followed behind them, and they were sort of tracking them. And you say, oh no, there's going to be a dead end because there's a gap between this part, which is now Siberia, and the little pink area, which is actually this part over here, because it's a world map, it's all round. And so there's a gap right there. So how did the animals and the people that were following this tract of land, how did they get across the ocean right there? You know what? What really surprises me is they just walked. Because a long time ago in the Ice Age, this little piece of land, get the mouse work again, this little piece of land and this little piece of land were sort of connected. The continents were connected by a thin, narrow piece of land and they called it the land bridge. And so the people just walked right over. The mammoths walked over, and the people followed them into North America. So that's how they got from Asia over to North America. Now, once they did this, and of course this took hundreds of years to make this great journey, the continents started pulling apart. That's Ice Age 2, the Great Continental Divide. And then they pull apart, and the snow and the ice started melting because the Ice Age is coming to an end. The ocean levels rose, and therefore we ended up with that gap. But the Native Americans who walked across and ended up into North America, and as the climate started changing, they started finding other food sources. They could find other animals. They could start farming and growing other food. And they were doing so well that the tribes and things started splitting up and going in different directions until they spread out all over what we now call United States. Now, they did go as far as down to Mexico and into South America, but I'd much rather just focus on our country and think about the Native Americans that lived in different regions of the United States of America. And so what I'm trying to do with my website is try to create some art projects that sort of target different regions so that we can see the different resources they had and the kind of art projects that they made with the resources they had from those different regions. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down some art projects, and you can click on the different ones that you want to create and learn along with me about the Native American culture.